for fairness and even-handedness. And having Jeff Sessions in charge of that just completely undermines that. He is not somebody I would want to see running the institution that I spent 21 years in, that has the Civil Rights Division in it, which is, in my view, the crown jewel of the Justice Department in many ways because it protects the most fundamental rights we have as Americans.
Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III brought face to face with things he personally had said, that the NAACP and the Civil Liberties Union are un-American organizations.
These comments that you could say about a commie organization or something, I may have said something like that in a general way that probably was wrong.
I'm going to show you an 86 in this piece, your testimony. And so I just want to ask you...
I had more hair back then. I was thinner also.
Would you have said it any differently today, or would you have said it exactly the way that you said it then?
I would say it differently today for this reason, because back then I had what I considered to be at the time a close personal relationship with Jeff. I mean, we knew each other well. I was in a very difficult position as a DOJ lawyer. My job was threatened by Senator Denton when I went up to testify, and I made sure I informed him and Strom Thurmond's staff member that they didn't decide whether I had a job or not, that was up to people at the Justice Department, that I didn't think they had that juice to make it happen.
Transcripts of that Senate Judiciary hearing show that Thomas Figures, a black former assistant U.S. attorney in Alabama, testified Sessions called him boy and joked about the Ku Klux Klan.
I state categorically that I have never called Mr. Figures boy.
And Gerald Hebert, who was a Justice Department lawyer, also testified. Sessions called the NAACP and ACLU un-American and communist-inspired.
So I'm very interested in the way that language and our consensus about words like racist or racism changes over time. And I know in your testimony you were cautious in 1986.
Also brought face to face with a Justice Department civil rights attorney who knows him well and who was asked, is Sessions a racist?
I don't really know whether he is or he isn't. I probably ought to know, but I don't. I really can't say.
Testimony presented to the committee in these hearings by the nominee himself and other credible witnesses has revealed racial insensitivity.
I am not a racist. I am not insensitive to blacks. I have supported civil rights activity in my state.
I was a reluctant witness back then. Since that time, in the 30 years that has passed, I've seen a lot of what Jeff Sessions stands for, and he hasn't really lived up to what his claim was, that I'm not a racist, that that's not who I am, that I believe in equality and I believe in racial justice. The record speaks otherwise, and I think he's going to have to answer for that in his confirmation hearings.
He apologized for the things that he said explicitly, but continued voting as a senator implicitly for the same things without saying them. So anti-Muslim, anti-immigrant, anti-voting rights, anti-civil rights. I mean, everything that he has done as a U.S. senator.
He was for the constitutional same-sex marriage ban, against expanding hate crimes to include sexual orientation, against an update to the Voting Rights Act.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but a large part of the reason why he was not confirmed as a judge in 1986 was that he tried to use law enforcement to put a chilling effect on voter registration of African Americans by prosecuting people who were especially good at that.
Yeah, there were a group of black activists in majority black counties who were very good at going out and not only registering voters, but assisting shut-ins and elderly voters who may be illiterate with getting absentee ballots. And he brought voter fraud prosecutions against all of those people, and it did have a chilling effect.
The would-be judge's biggest problem came in a case he prosecuted and lost, a vote fraud case involving black civil rights leaders in Perry County, Alabama. Defendants in the Perry County case were Albert and Evelyn Turner, political and civil rights leaders for more than 20 years. Albert was an aide to Martin Luther King. Their scrapbook has all the marches.
This is Bloody Sunday. Albert conceived, that's him right there.
Albert and Evelyn Turner were found not guilty. Jeff Sessions declined to talk to NBC News, but his friends and supporters told us he is not a racist.
The impetus of it, I think, was to keep blacks from voting, to intimidate people, and they went right after the leadership that they want to defeat.
When you're in power and you're white, you have a choice in light of those changing demographics. You can either change your policies to better reflect the views of this growing new majority, or you can try to suppress their votes. And we know what has happened. They've suppressed their votes. And I think for a while, we're going to be in kind of the vote suppression mode. But those of us who litigate voting rights cases and are in the courts and know how to win cases in the courts, we have to double down our resolve and attack those every time they come up. And that's what we intend to do. So I think, we may have a period where, we have to do a lot of litigation, and ultimately the Supreme Court may not be our friend. But that doesn't mean we can't fight that fight every day. And we'll win cases. The Supreme Court only takes a small amount of cases. So, we can win a lot of the cases that maybe never make it up that far. Even though I'm discouraged about where we are today and I had hoped we'd have more progress, I'm more determined than ever before. As one of my favorite entertainers, Leonard Cohen, who passed away just a couple of weeks ago, used to say, "I'm as durable as the trash bag that time can't decay." Well, that's me. I'm here to fight the fight until the last breath I take. And I'm going to fight for what I believe in. And I'm going to fight against Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III becoming the Attorney General of the United States.